Once upon a time, in a small coastal town called Seagull Shores, lived a curious and imaginative boy named Jack. Jack loved two things more than anything else in the world: stories about pirates and the twinkling lights of the lighthouse near his home. Jack's father, Mr. Finley, was the lighthouse keeper. Every evening, Jack would watch his father climb the spiral staircase to light the lantern that guided ships safely to the harbor. Jack dreamed that one day he would have adventures on the sea, just like the pirates in his books. But tonight, something unusual happened. "Jack, it's bedtime," called Mrs. Finley as she tucked his baby sister into her crib. "But Mom, I saw something out at sea," Jack exclaimed, pressing his nose against the window. Mrs. Finley sighed. Jack always found an excuse to stay up late. "You can check tomorrow. Now brush your teeth, young man." Jack trudged up the stairs to his room, dragging his pirate blanket behind him. But before he could even open his book about Captain Boldbeard's adventures, he saw it again, a flickering light far off in the ocean. It wasn't the steady beam of the lighthouse. This light was moving. "Pirates!" Jack whispered, his heart pounding. Grabbing his toy spyglass and putting on his trusty pirate hat, he tiptoed to the door. "If Dad can light up the harbor, I can protect it." Sneaking outside, Jack felt the cool night air tickle his face. The lighthouse's lantern bathed the cliffs in a golden glow, but out in the distance, the strange light continued to blink. He climbed down the rocks until he reached the sandy shore, and then he heard it, a thud and a crash. A small rowboat had washed up on the beach. Jack gasped. Inside were two scruffy men with eye patches and striped shirts. "Pirates!" he whispered again, ducking behind a boulder. "Quit bumping the treasure chest, Rummy," hissed one of the men as he struggled to pull a heavy chest onto the sand. "I'm trying, but it's stuck," complained the other. Jack's imagination ran wild. What if these pirates were here to steal the lighthouse light? Without it, ships might crash on the rocks. He knew he had to act fast. Jack crept closer and grabbed a stick, pretending it was a sword. Then, in his loudest voice, he shouted, "Avast, ye scurvy dogs! Step away from that chest or face Captain Jack of the lighthouse." The pirates jumped in surprise, their lanterns swinging wildly. "What in the blazes?" Rummy exclaimed, squinting into the darkness. Jack leapt onto the rock, his toy spyglass glinting in the moonlight. "You'll never take our town! Surrender now!" For a moment, the pirates stared, then burst into laughter. "It's just a wee lad," one of them chuckled. But before they could say more, a deep voice boomed from behind Jack. "And who dares trespass on my beach?" It was Mr. Finley. He had heard Jack sneak out and followed him down. His tall frame and stern lighthouse keeper's coat made him look like a giant in the moonlight. The pirates froze, then scrambled back to their rowboat, shouting, "We'll be back for our chest!" As they paddled furiously away, Mr. Finley picked up the chest. "Well, well, looks like our little captain saved the day," he said with a wink. Jack grinned. "I couldn't let them get away with stealing the lighthouse light." His father chuckled. "It wasn't the light they were after. This is just an old fishing chest. But you were brave, Jack. Now, let's get you back to bed." As they walked back to the house, the chest creaked open slightly. Inside, Jack caught a glimpse of something shiny: gold coins. That night, as Jack lay in bed, he looked out the window at the lighthouse beam sweeping across the waves. He imagined the pirates rowing far, far away and dreamed of the day he would grow up to be a real captain, protecting Seagull Shores from danger. And from then on, every time he saw the lighthouse light, it reminded him that even the smallest adventurers could shine the brightest.